So did Rubi Rose's best friend abandon her for some D from Lil Tjay? We're going to talk about all that and much more today on No Jumper News. So, okay, this actually means a lot to me because when Rubi Rose came through to do her No Jumper interview, I remember she had a couple of cute friends with her, and it occurred to me like, wow, they seem like such a cool friend unit. You know, they seem like they all care about each other so much. They're getting along great. Everything seems great. Nope, it's not great after all because they are in some drama. Let's talk about it. So Rubi Rose just called out her best friend, or former best friend perhaps, Lala Baptiste, on Twitter after Lil Tjay shared a photo of him booed up with Lala on his Instagram feed. Okay, for those who don't remember, just a few months ago, Lil Tjay, he flew out Rubi Rose to see him on his 19th birthday, and he embarrassed her on his story when she allegedly called the cops on him for texting another girl. And he also drew the ire of Twitter when he refused to pay for her flight home. Rubi later aired him out online, claiming that she didn't want to spend her own money and that Tjay twisted the situation to make her look bad. Since then, the two have seemingly made amends, and they even linked up back in July. Well, now it looks like Lil Tjay has moved on to her homegirl. He posted a picture of himself getting cozy with one of Rubi's best friends, Lala. After getting word of the news, Rubi unloaded her feelings about Lil Tjay and called out her best friend for being a snake. I'ma just let karma do what it do. Let's talk about backstabbing best friends. It's not about the dude. It's about a girl I called my sister being a snake. It be the ones closest to you. It be the girls playing innocent and good girls that's the most fucked up and ran through. Loyalty is everything. I don't share dick. Once you give it up, I don't want it. So this kind of pops the bubble for me when I met Rubi Rose and I saw her and this Lala girl and the other girl, and they all just seemed like such good friends, and it just, you know, it seemed like such a powerful dynamic to have these three poppin' hottie little Instagram girls all working together. Well, it appears that the bond is not necessarily as strong as we once thought it was because Lil Tjay's little wiener was apparently enough to tear them apart. No offense, Tjay, I don't know if you're... Yeah. The question I'm wondering is, why is this such a big deal? If you guys are such a bunch of enlightened, intelligent, feminist women, then why do you care if one of your friends is off getting some dick from another guy that you already slept with? If you're not with him, if you've moved on to greener pastures than Rubi, why do you even care about what your friend's doing? Maybe she should have been more honest with you. I guess that's probably a big part of it, is like maybe she should have informed you or even asked for consent for her to go get some D from this guy. But I mean, Rubi seems really mad about it. She's saying that like it'd be the ones you don't suspect who are the most ran through. I mean, that kind of makes me feel like she's talking some shit about Lala, so I guess we'll see how this one unfolds. Next story. Aside from the backlash that he's been receiving for shooting Meg Thee Stallion, allegedly, Tory Lanez has been heavily criticized about his new album, Daystar, and its release timing. Firstly, the album arrived just a day after Breonna Taylor's killers were let off the hook. Rick Ross offered up some criticism, saying that Tory should have never released his album, noting that it was disrespectful to Breonna Taylor. Tory replied to Rick Ross on Twitter, saying that he attended several Breonna Taylor protests in Miami, while Rick Ross did not show up to any of them. He also called out Rick Ross for promoting and tagging his products while making posts about Breonna's death. I respect you too much as a black man to disrespect you in these times. However, I went out and marched 9 days straight for Breonna Taylor in your city. I didn't see the boss out there once. Also, stop tagging your endorsements in posts about her. It is a poor decision. Rick Ross opposed Tory's claim that he protested for Breonna Taylor and called out Tory for bad timing on releasing a whack album, quote unquote.
It's off, little boy. I appreciate how you responded swiftly to Rose. But that's how you should have did the sister that accused you of shooting. But more importantly, let's get to you protesting. You ain't protesting Miami. Only reason you was out there is because your condo that you stay in $1,500 a month, damn protest was coming right down there. So you went down and took a photo out. That's cool. Poor decisions is putting together an album and trying to profit off some shit people like myself was to hear you address this shit and move on. Not get a whack song or a whack album that ain't gonna get you no money, no new supporters.
Tory later shared a photo of himself to his Instagram feed, and in the caption, he explains why September 25th was the release date. September 25th, my mother's birthday, the day she passed away, the day the album dropped. Hashtag Daystar. The Shade Room reported that they had received information from Tory's camp stating that a portion of Daystar's profits will be donated to organizations supporting women, children, and victims of violence, as well as the Breonna Taylor Foundation. Megan, who has taken her time with her responses regarding the incident, apparently had another message. On Instagram, she shared a photo of herself wearing rings that spell out the words F you with the caption mood. Okay, so I guess I got to give my opinion about this Tory Lanez album. I guess I've never really listened to a Tory Lanez album or project with such open ears before. You know, I am not necessarily like the #1 R&B guy, but I was listening to this project really hanging on his every word because I wanted to hear how he was going to sort of get himself out of all the entanglements that he's been a part of. And I will say that even though I have my doubts about him not shooting her, that this album to me was really masterfully played. You know, there wasn't a way that Tory was going to be able to take a W from just coming out and doing an interview or doing an Instagram live about it, but he put out the album. He combined the fact that he is extremely talented musically with him getting his side of the story out. Now, somebody I did see say Tory Lanez basically made an entire concept album about gaslighting. I kind of felt like that by the end of it. Like, wow, why is this guy just trying to sort of stir up doubt inside of me to make me think that Meg Thee Stallion is a liar? But I mean, he did a pretty good job of it, to be honest. He raised a lot of concerns and questions that really need to be accounted for at some point. He poked a lot of holes in the story about why maybe this didn't happen exactly the way that we assumed it was. And I guess that's the main thing with this, is that Meg Thee Stallion seems like she was the victim in this whole situation, but it also seems like there is more to the story that we don't know about yet. So, hey, you got to hand it to Tory. He poked holes in it. He raised doubt. I guess that's what you want to do, huh? Next story, according to reports, YNW Melly will not appear in court for his double murder trial until the top of 2021. Despite messages of free Melly from fans and social media posts on his page saying that he will be home soon, prosecutors say that even without the COVID-19 pandemic, homicide cases rarely take more than a couple years to reach trial. COVID-19 is affecting practically all cases in our jurisdiction, said Broward State Attorney's Office spokeswoman Paula McMahon by email. Every case has unique facts and circumstances, but homicide cases routinely take more than a couple of years. The Broward County State Attorney's Office said that Melly's case is not going to trial anytime soon, and without bond, he will be staying in jail. His next court date is set for the end of January 2021. Melly, whose real name is Jamel Demons, is scheduled to appear at the Broward County Central Courthouse in Fort Lauderdale on January 28th of next year. In related news, last week, a 43-year-old man connected to YNW Melly was shot 3 times because of his relationship with Melly. An 18-year-old named Travion Banks was later arrested in connection with the shooting. And hey, I don't got nothing to add to that. All I'm saying is free Melly. We're going to find out what really happened, but I know that my boy did not do it. That's a fact. Well, I guess it's not a fact because I'm just guessing, but I would really like to see Melly come home soon, so let that man out. All right, ladies and gentlemen, hopefully you enjoyed me here. AD is going to be back for our next episode, but please like, comment, subscribe, and tell us what you thought about this episode. We appreciate it. NoJumper.com if you want support, buy some merch. Peace.